This is WKCR FM New York, WKCR HD1 Radio. I'm Jassvan, DeLima, and this is a Som do Brasil in the house. we, are, we are on Zoom with Alexia Bomtempo, Augusto, Ghiotto, and Jassvan, DeLima. And we're going to start talking about this beautiful new album released by Alexia Bomtempo, Suspiro, just released on April the 24th. On Rodopiado. Rodopiado, let's start with that, with Alexa. Bem-vinda, Alexa, ao nosso Zoom e Som do Brasil, WKCR FM.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
And tell me the name of the record company,
Ropadope.
Rodopadope.
Ropadope. Right? It's a tricky word for Brazilians, I think, because you said rodopia. That's what I think. It's funny you said that. It reminds me of that too.
Yeah, that's incredible. But anyway, congratulations! What a beautiful project, and the release. I listened already about 8 times the album. Come out with such a class, and the production's impeccable, and such a great, good taste. You always have it, but this one come out on the top. And I want to ask you the first question about you and your husband, the producer, Jaco. When you released, I think it was the first single that you released, Devagar, you were living in... Devagar, right?
Mais devagar.
Mais devagar, right? Mm-hmm. Mais devagar. And you were living in Japan at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was that track. I was doing a jazz residency at a club in Japan for a few months, and I started writing that song about saudade, and I think a lot of the Brazilians can relate to that. And I started writing it with a guitar, which sometimes I do, and I started writing it a little bit like a waltz, like a valsa. And then Jake helps me finish it, and he came up with the beautiful melody in the chorus. And when we brought it to the studio to show it to Stefan, when we were discussing, putting the material together, he came up with this really interesting kind of like African Brazilian Afrobeat sort of feel for it, and it turned out completely different than how I had originally written it, and it's one of my favorite tracks on the album.
Augusto, Ghiotto.
Shall we play it right now?
Yes, that's a great opportunity for you to press the button.
I'll press the button here. I'll be right back.
Quem já não se perdeu
Okay, so and how did this album come about? New album. Can you tell the story behind it?
Yeah. So it's funny, we just started talking about Japan, so I can continue from there because I had just gotten back to New York after spending a few months there, and I was deeply immersed into this world of jazz and bossa, and I wanted to do an album that would sort of pay tribute to that era of the 60s in Rio and Brazil, but with a contemporary feel still, with a more modern vibe. And so I already had the idea, and I ran into Stefan San Juan, who was the other producer on the record, along with Jake Owen. And Stefan is an old friend of mine from Rio. He's French, but he lived in Rio for many, many years. Incredible drummer, percussionist who's played with some very heavy people throughout his career. But funny enough, when we lived in Rio, we never had an opportunity to work together. It just never happened. And I ran into him in New York at a show in Brooklyn, and he had just, he was kind of moving here and decided to spend some time here. And Jake finished opening his studio with Mauro Refosco, amazing percussionist based here in New York, also Brazilian. And they have a studio together in Bushwick, and they were just kind of finishing, building it out. And Stefan had just gone in there to record with his jazz trio. And I talked about it with Stefan, and I told him about my idea of doing this album, and he thought it was great. So we decided to put something together, and we recorded it pretty quickly. We recorded it kind of like, not kind of, we recorded everything live in the studio, all the musicians playing at the same time. And I was singing. All the vocals that you hear on the record are from the actual session when we were all playing together. I wanted to do something that, I want to do a record like people used to do back in the day, where everybody would just get in a room and play together. So that's how we did it with the Stefan San Juan on drums, Vitor Gonçalves on piano, Eduardo Belo on bass, and Jake on guitar. And then later on we had Michael Lenhart come in, and he played trumpet. So that's really like the only kind of overdub, and some percussion that Stefan did afterwards as well. So that's how it came about, and we recorded everything in pretty much a week. It was really quick, and then we took forever to put it out.
No, it's
That's
really
beautiful.
The Rio feeling. I was listening just before this interview again, and it felt like I was in Rio. I missed Rio.
Nice. Transported you.
Yeah. I was in Rio in my living room.
Yeah.
But it does. It reminds me of also of Astro Gilberto and out the bossa nova that came into the US.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's very well-rounded. Very.
Thank you. Those are definitely some of my influences, and having grown up in Rio and having that background, I think it translates really well into this record.
Mm-hmm.
I close my eyes and I feel like I'm in Rio too. I think a lot of people will feel that.
The song that you open up the album, I Am in Love Again.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from Peg Lee and Cy Coleman, and it's amazing. We interviewed him a couple years ago, and I think he lives in Connecticut, the guitar player who plays with Peg Lee for many years.
Wow.
Stephen Bloom, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we know him personally. He's amazing. And anyway, but Peg Lee is one of my favorites. And
Mm-hmm.
how you come about to get into I'm in Love Again?
Well, I wanted to do a song that was a lesser known selection of the American Songbook. And when I was researching several records for, to pick the repertoire, I came across this recording. Funny enough, I listened, the first recording that I came across was by Blossom Dearie of this tune. I don't know if you know it. And then I came across Peggy Lee's recording and then Tony Bennett's recording. And it's always been done as a ballad. So I thought it was interesting that we were able to give it this more Brazilian feel to it. But that's how it came about. I wanted to record an American classic, but maybe just not so obvious, lesser known. So that's how I found this one. And I love the feel that we gave to it. I really like taking songs that are known for just having a certain feel and being able to transform it and give it a complete different life. I find that very interesting. And I've done that throughout my career with other covers. I've always had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, that's another one that nobody ever think about. Is there one that you did from Edu Lobo, Even Now?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Even Now. That one, it was a suggestion of DJ Greg Kaz, who you must know, Brazilian,
right, yeah.
And dear friend from New Blue. I asked him if he had any ideas. I told him I was doing this record, and he got back to me right away with this one, which I knew, but I just hadn't thought about it. And when he sent it to me, I just thought it would be a perfect one to do.
That's great. I love the album too. I have the album, LP for years, and people give it for granted because Edu Lobo is such an incredible discography of beautiful albums also.
Mm-hmm. You have the vinyl for this one?
Yes.
Oh wow! I wish I had that on vinyl.
Thinking about vinyl, you gave me the one for your last album. I have and vinyl. What do you think about this one? You think it's going to come out in vinyl also?
I hope so. I certainly would love to see this on vinyl. Obviously now with what's going on in the world, all the pressing plants are delayed. So we're holding off for the time being, but I hope that once things get back to normal a little bit, that we'll be able to press vinyl for this record. I would absolutely love to have this record on vinyl.
So for now, it's only online release.
For now, it's online and CD. So we have CDs.
CD again.
Yeah, and you can get the CDs. I can send you the link. You can get them on Bandcamp. Yeah.
Do you have a website that people can check out?
Yeah, I can give you the website too, alexiabomtempo.com. You can find all the links for everything there.
Great. So should we listen to some tracks and come back?
Yes, let's listen to I Am in Love again. That is the open track, and also Even Now. It's a cover by Alexia Bomtempo. It's a cover by the Edu Lobo from the first album released in 1971. Sergio Mendes presents Edu Lobo.
We'll be right back.
No The same old story turns the way. There's always something to be fond of, somewhere to find an old kind of dreaming, to offer the hope of new chances, leaning on the road up to this day. Somehow there's a hint of approaching sunrise, even now when the nighttime is in our eyes. Even now, work too hard, still envy when it's all new. Seems like an ordinary day. The same old story turns away. There's always something to be fond of, somewhere to find an old kind of dreaming, to offer the hope of new chances, leaning on the road up to this day. Somehow there's a hint of approaching sunrise, even now when the nighttime is in our eyes. Even now, work too hard, still envy when it's all new. Somehow there's a hint of approaching sunrise, even now when the nighttime is in our eyes. Even now, work too hard, still envy when it's all new.
Okay, Jassvan and Alexia.
What about
Yeah, Zoom.
we are on Zoom, our first Zoom here on at Som do Brasil. But
Mm-hmm.
Alexa, in the title, Suspiro.
So
Suspiro?
it's one of the tracks on the record. It's the fourth track on the record, and it's a song that was written by Domenico Lancelotti and Bruno de Lulu, two incredible contemporary Brazilian musicians and songwriters from Rio. And when we were putting material together for the record, Stefan had asked Domenico for some originals, and he sent us a few, and Suspiro was one of them. And I love that song. Every time I sing it, it still moves me, and it doesn't matter where I am. I can be here in my living room, I can be on stage, I can be in the studio. And as singers, as you go along, to have that feeling for a particular song in any setting, I think that's so special, and it always gives me chills. I feel deeply connected to that song. And the album title actually came very late. The record was done and ready, but it still didn't really have a title. And then one day I just thought of it, and I thought it would be the perfect album title. Not just because of the meaning, as we know, as native Brazilians here, Suspiro, it's like a sigh of relief, right? It doesn't translate that easily into English, because when you think of sigh in English, it makes you think of something sad, and that's not what suspiro is. Suspirar is something that makes you kind of feel good and relieved. And in addition to that, I think it's a very nice sounding word, even if you don't know what it means. And if you read it in English, I think it sounds interesting. So I thought it would be a cool name for the record.
You know that I was thinking too, the Suspiro is a nice little sweet,
It is.
you know? Yeah.
Yes,
Sweet.
it is. Very true.
I think they call merengue here in America, right? Merengue, I think. Yeah,
Meringue,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
merengue. Do they have them in white? And some people color them too.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
pink. And,
Pink, yeah.
There you go. Maybe when we get back to playing shows, I'll have a little stand selling sushi.
Suspiro. That would be a great idea. Some sweet stuff.
Mhm.
Talking about your fourth album, right?
Yes, this is my fourth.
That's amazing. I was looking to your discography. And this one, I did know, just, jumping a little bit back in time. Astrolabio,
Hmm.
you know, the one you released on EMI Records in 2007.
Yeah.
This one's here. And it is funny, the numerology of this project, because it's a 2007, and then you have the other one on 2012, like 5 years later. And then you have another one 5 years later, and this one is 3 years later.
Wow. I haven't even thought about that.
It's funny. I was just
Funny.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the meaning behind it?
I think it's the best. I just think that your career is growing, growing, growing. This is the most beautiful album that we got this year of a Brazilian release. This album, it is amazing. It's going to take us to a better place. That's all I can say,
Thank you. And it's interesting you say that because when we were making the record, one of the feelings that I had was I wanted to make a feel-good record, just a record that you put on and it kind of makes you feel good, and it takes you to a good place. And obviously we didn't know what was going to happen with the world when this record was released, in the middle of this pandemic. But I'm so happy that with what you just said, how it makes you feel good and it takes you to a good place. And I've had a lot of people commenting on how that has been the effect of this music on them. And hey, it's people need to feel good right now, and they need to be transported to good places. So even though I wanted to make a record that would make people feel good, I never thought that the timing would be so appropriate,
Augusto Ghiotto.
Perfect. So do you want to, are there other tracks that you want to talk about that we didn't talk and they're dear to you? I know you love the entire album, and we all do, but you can share this a little bit to our listeners and now our viewers.
Mm-hmm.
We want to dance. If you want to dance, of course, you get into some George Benjor. That's a beautiful arrangement. I love that song also.
Eles querem amar. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
That's such a great tune, right?
I mean, it's amazing. You think like this is a obscure George Benjor, and it's a beautiful song. Makes you feel so good. And you did such a great job into this. Talking about this song also,
Mm-hmm.
let's give credit to the whole group. The arrangements, everything's so beautiful, and it looks so simple, but it's so elegant. It's like what samba in bossa nova. It really is. It's a piece of real music into for the whole world to listen.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and that really a big shout out to the musicians that were able to make this happen, because they really are some of the best in the world when it comes to playing this style. You know, Vitor Gonçalves on piano, Eduardo Belo on bass, and Stefan on the drums, and Jake on guitar. I mean, it was really incredible to have them in the studio and coming up with such brilliant ways to perform this music and make it sound slightly different than, you know, because some of them are covers of of other recordings. So to give them a new, interesting feel, that's, you know, big thank you to these guys. And we had a blast.
I love the touch of the trumpet of Michael Leonhardt. It's such an incredible touches of the trumpets all over the record.
Yeah, it's like, you know, poetry that just comes out, and it's so elegant, and he has such good taste. It's interesting when you mentioned Mais Devagar. One thing that I love about that track is that Michael is pretty much playing throughout the entire track. I think there are just seconds where there's no trumpet, but it's there in the background. It's so magical.
So, Augusto, Ghiotto, so let's play the tracks Eles Querem Amar. You know, what else we talking about here?
Yeah. Let's choose another one to play now.
Maybe we could play, let's see, I'm looking here. Maybe the second one, Grão.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
Yeah, that's... Talk about a feel-good song.
yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I can, you know, you can't take it out. I listen to the whole record over and over. You know, I don't go to a particular song. Grão, Alberto Continentino and Fernando Temporão. This family is amazing. And the Continentino family is amazing.
What an incredible family. I mean,
unbelievable.
The level of talent there. Unbelievable, really.
It's about 3 brothers, right?
Yes. Alberto, Kiko, Jorge, they're all incredible. And and incredible writers, incredible composers. There are 2 songs on this record that were written by Alberto. This is one of them, Grão, and Fernando Temporão wrote the lyrics. And there's another one, Les Chansons d'Amour, which also features Stéphane San Juan on vocals. And Stéphane wrote the French lyrics to that, and Alberto wrote the music. And I love Alberto's style of writing. It's just so brilliant. I mean, I wonder how his mind works, you know, for the melodies to go to certain places. I wish I could get in there one day and understand. Yeah. We just started writing some songs together after this, so I'm extremely honored to be his songwriting partner now. And we just wrote something last week that made me think of that. Like, wow, how do you come up with something like this?
That's amazing. So let's listen to those songs. Those are brand new release by Alexia Bomtempo. The album is Suspiro. On the record label,
Ropa-Dope.
Ropa-Dope.
Deixa falar, deixa zombar, deixa brigar, pois eles querem amar. Deixa falar, deixa zombar, deixa brigar, pois eles querem amar. A gente fala, a gente zomba, a gente briga, mas depois ama. A gente fala, a gente zomba, a gente briga, mas depois ama. Eu não sei falar muito bem, não, 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 mas sei falar bem de amor. Disso eu sei que sei falar, zombar, brigar e amar. São as coisas dessa vida e no amor não pode faltar. Deixa falar, deixa fala, a gente zomba, a gente briga, mas depois ama. Eu não sei falar muito bem, não, 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 mas sei falar bem de amor. Disso eu sei que sei falar, zombar, brigar e amar. São as coisas dessa vida e no amor não pode faltar, por isso.
Augusto, Ghiotto.
We are back here. WKCR 89.9 FM New York, WKCR HD1, and on social media, Som do Brasil, WKCR Brasil, on Facebook, and also we have Instagram now, and our blog is wkcrbrasil.blogspot.com. And hopefully you can start watching us on Zoom as we with guests and interviews. This is our first time with our special guest, Alexia Bomtempo, who just released this album, Suspiro, that you can find in digital platforms and also on CD. If you go to her website, alexiabomtempo.com, you can find a CD to purchase. Is that right?
That's right.
All right.
We forget let's don't forget the man, a friend of mine, one of the best guitar players in the world, the acoustic guitar on Les Chansons d'Amour. It is Guilherme Monteiro.
Guilherme Monteiro, yes, amazing friend. And it was a beautiful thing when we recorded this. We wanted to have him as a guest on one of the tracks, and we thought this was one that, as you listen to it, it only has percussion and guitar. It's very simple, and we invited him to come in, and the way it was just so beautiful to watch him come up with the harmony and the guitar parts for this song right there in the studio in about 5 minutes. And then he took a pass and it was absolutely beautiful. Guilherme he's incredibly talented and such a sweet person. And I'm so happy to have him featured on the record as well.
Alexia, also, let's give a little bit of your roots. How your parents and you grow up in Rio. Tell us a little bit about it.
I was actually born here in the States. My mom is American and my dad is Brazilian. So I moved to Brazil when I was about 7 years old. And I grew up in Rio, and my whole life was kind of split between Brazil and the States, a lot of going back and forth. And when I was a child, my dad was a concert promoter in Rio. So I was very lucky to be able to go see these shows since I was very young. It was an exciting childhood, to say the least. But to be able to grow up and see Gilberto Gil, Baden Powell, Caetano, everyone that you can imagine, I was there to see them play live. So I knew that I wanted to be in that world somehow. I started out studying theater when I was young, and then when I moved back to the States to finish high school, I started singing in the high school choir. And that's really kind of when I decided that I wanted to pursue singing, was in high school.
That's great, Alexia. Thank you for coming and talk with us here on WKCR FM New York in our first Zoom here for everybody. Stay safe, stay home, and I hope pretty soon we can see this whole CD and this whole project on the road, all over the world. This is where I want to see it. Good luck. And it's a beautiful album. And we're going to play a couple songs after that. And I'd like you to give an intro about Serpente. Serpente is an incredible song also by Domenico, right?
Domenico and Bruno also.
And Bruno. Mm-hmm. That's a touch of the Northeast, right?
Yes, definitely. There's the Northeast of Brazil, definitely a touch of that there. And it definitely, I think that's one for, move everything out and have a little dance party at home. Bring yourself to the Northeast of Brazil.
And we're going to end up with Fim de Sonho. There's João Donato, another one that I never heard before,
Mm-hmm. A lot of
beautiful Fim de Sonho.
Yeah, I love it. This was a suggestion. Stefan suggested this one. Stefan he's played with João Donato and he's really close with him, and we thought it would be great to have something by him on the record. And when we were digging through records, he had this idea, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful Brazilian ballad.
So congratulations to everybody. Stefan did an incredible job as a producer with Jack, and you, we can tell you, you were the best. We love you, and we see you. Stay safe, and give our love to everybody that is with you or your family. Thank you.
Otherwise,
all the best.
Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you for having me.
serpente na areia, vê. Na superfície da pedra, vê. Na correnteza do rio, vê. Na cachoeira de nuvem, vê. De lá do alto da copa, vê. De lá de dentro da toca, vê. De lá da boca do mato, vê. Vai a serpente na areia, vê. Vai a serpente na minha voz. Vai a serpente na minha mão. Vai a serpente na minha voz. Vai a serpente na minha mão. A te, a te, a te. 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 Vai a serpente na areia, vê. Na superfície da pedra, vê. Na correnteza do rio, vê. Na cachoeira de nuvem, vê. De lá do alto da copa, vê. De lá de dentro da toca, vê. De lá da boca do mato, vê. Vai a serpente na areia, vê. Vai a serpente na minha voz. Vai a serpente na minha mão. Vai a serpente na minha voz. Vai a serpente na minha mão. A te, a te, a te. A te, a te, a te. A te, a te, a te. A te, a Vai a serpente na superfície, na correnteza.